My first time shooting a Polish AK since the Tantile. This is the WBP Jack. Let's jack on together. What's up, fellow illiterate commie dirtbag AK enthusiasts? Calling the AKM an AK-47 is something that's so common that even AK guys like us have given up correcting those superior AR-15 enjoyers when they refer to what is really an AKM as an AK-47. We all know what we're talking about. AK guys just want to gatekeep a little bit and let you know that we know more about the Kalashnikov than you do. And that's okay, man. AK guys are just pumped to have a club, oftentimes socially maladjusted, like a little touch of mental disability, just rampant on the AK files. Let us have our thing. But you know what? AK guys are right. The AKM is not an AK-47. It's the AK modernized. Released about a decade after the AK-47 in 1959, it's the most common AK today, although it's still referred to as its predecessor, the AK-47, in spite of a number of significant improvements. The AKM used a stamped 1mm steel receiver instead of milled, saving 2 pounds. Accuracy's better, the sights were revised. More significant changes from the AK-47 to the AKM from 47 to 59 than there were to Michael Jackson's face from 1979 to 1994. But that's not important for this video. We ain't talking Jackson. We're talking about the Jack, son. The AK market's been needlessly complicated over the past couple of decades because of crazy U.S. import laws. AKs either have to be made here in the U.S., or if you want something that isn't a flaming bag of shit, imported models have to come into the country with thumbhole stocks, single-stack 10-round magazine wells, unthreaded barrels, deleting other politically intimidating features. And when they make it to the U.S., they get a conversion operation and they become the AK that they always identified themselves to be, not the AK they were born as. 20 years ago, the only company doing this with any commercial volume was Century Arms, which is incredible because they were awful at it. Century would import and convert Romanian and Serbian AKs, which theoretically should have been fantastic because they were all built in former Comblock military factories, sent to the U.S. to be converted with threaded barrels, regular furniture, pistol grips, double-stacked mag wells that accepted regular AK magazines. But for some reason, it's completely legal to do that to the guns when they get to the U.S., but if you import one with those standard features I just mentioned, straight to federal pound you in the ass prison, I don't get it. Unfortunately, there was a running joke in the old days of the gun forums that Century hired monkeys with Dremels to perform their conversions, so many of them sucked, and Romanians imported by Century could barely sell for $300 or $400 because mag wells would be poorly ground out of spec, sights would be canted, QC was just plain bad. But thank God other players start to get into the game. The Saiga SGL series started getting imported for a while. I bought mine from Arsenal, one of the best AKs I own to this day. I bought it for $500 probably 15 years ago. Mofos started trying to make them over here, which pretty much everyone failed at except for Arsenal and Kalashnikov USA. The issue is that US companies couldn't make a proper trunnion for these guns. That is, the parts here that hold the barrel and the stock to the receiver. They'd make cheap cast metal trunnions that could fall apart prematurely. US-made AKs implemented other cost-cutting measures like not including cold hammer forged barrels, as is common with even the cheapest import AKs. Or, as a great example, there was a batch of Polish Tantiles that were chambered in 5.45 but barreled with 5.56 barrels, causing them to keyhole. How do I know about that? Because I bought one. I'm trying to say that getting a good AK in the United States is more complicated than the tax code. The good news is there are quality options out there. The bad news is they're pricey. Arsenals, Zastava, Kalashnikov USA, all really good manufacturers, but you also have a couple of manufacturers from Poland that are turning out top-end true AKMs, accepting standard AK accessories and parts. You have FB Radom, a long-established military manufacturer making the Beryl or Beryl AKs, and you have a relative newcomer in WBP making today's rifle that I'm reviewing, the Jack. WBP started out making military dress sabers in the 90s, but began manufacturing AKs in 2008. 2018, 2019, we start seeing complete AKs come from WBP. Initial reviews, very positive. I was happy with the dozen or so AKs I had at the time when these started coming in, so I didn't see any reason to shell out $1,300 on a plain old AKM, especially because the first model WBP imported was the Fox, which has this weird rear trunnion to accommodate a shitty Polish optic rail, so you can't use regular AKM stocks with the Fox. But now WBP is importing the Jack, which is about as close as you're going to get to a regular high-quality AKM. For a whopping $1,300, you're getting a plain AKM, or are you? Flat out, this is one of the nicest AKs on the market right now. Although WBP is new compared to Polish military manufacturer FB Radom, 100 years old, and Zastava, which is almost 150 years old, WBP makes an impressive AK. They claim that their new AK models are put through a 15,000 round torture test before they're manufactured, and each individual model has a full 30 round magazine put through it as a quality control measure before it's sold to you. This is all info, by the way, that I got from my buddy Mishiko, who has several deep dive videos on the Jack that you should definitely check out if you want a more detailed look. Go to his channel, Mishiko, M-I-S-H-A-C-O. Not only is the fit and finish just excellent, but the Jack uses an FB Radom cold hammer forged and chrome lined barrel that will certainly outlast its owners. Talking about barrels, it's funny because AKs have a reputation for being inaccurate, but that's not accurate. My least accurate AK is probably my older M70 OPAP, a gun that was imported before Zastava started importing their own guns into the US. I can squeeze out 3-inch groups with it at 100 yards versus my newer Zastava M90 that'll do better than 2 inches. My Russian Saiga SGL-21 I just talked about will punch out better than 2-inch groups at 100 yards also. Accurate military-grade AKs definitely exist. How accurate is this AK? Although we didn't take groups with the Jack, we used a Jack to check accuracy. And I'm talking about Jack Daniel, the head instructor at Thunder Ranch, to help us test practical accuracy at the Adam Brown range on the ranch. The Brown range is set up with 5'8" tall steel man-shaped silhouettes at every 100-yard interval from 100 to 700 yards. The 7.6239 round that the AKM uses is usually 120-something grains in weight, or about double or triple the weight of the 223 round used by the AR-15, and about 1,000 feet per second slower. It's commonly accepted then that the maximum effective range of the heavier, sluggish 7.6239 is about 300 yards or less. With 100-yard zero, a competent AK operator should be able to make hits on a man-sized target out to 250, 300 yards with iron sights.
Nice!
Awesome.
After that, things get dicey, especially with these shitty AK sights. So we decided at Thunder Ranch we were going to shoot at 100, 200, 300 and make an honest attempt at 400 yards with the factory iron sights and regular steel ammo. The results? Surprising.
It's a beautiful day here at Thunder Ranch. We're on the Adam Brown range. This is the long distance range. You can see here we're going to stretch it out a little bit, see how far we can work it with iron sights. So, and shitty ammo, right? Let's give it a shot, see what we can do. Hit dead on, perfect hit. I mean, right in the center of the chest.
Awesome. So I held center of the chest on the 4 setting on the ramp.
Nice!
Awesome. I could not see where it hit, but I think it was in the chest. Okay, little left. There you go, there's another hit. Okay, send one more, same left hold. Correction, center hold. You hit him right in the left side of his dick. Same hold. Center hit in his chest.
First, it was surprising that our windage was way the frick off right out of the box.
Okay, no call, probably high.
I think that looks high to me.
The elevation down, it was way high over the top of the target by probably 10 feet. And so we brought the impact down, and now we're pushing it. It's on the left edge, so we're going to push it in the opposite direction and see what that gets us.
Surprising because it's such a well-made AK and because WBP implements pretty strict quality control measures. Maybe Merrick just had too much Sobieski during his lunch break and let this one slip. Thank God Jack Daniel had an actual AK front sight tool which you attach to the gun to push the front sight into place instead of the Polish front sight tool that you attach to the front sight to push the gun into place. But once we got that going, we were absolutely in business, dropping capitalists near and far, 100 and 200 yard hits, chip shots. 300 yards, easy enough from prone. 400 yards, a little bit trickier. But with a spotter and a good wind call, we were smashing the 400 yard target more than we were missing it, which is pretty incredible for a 7.62 39 with iron sights. Now at 500 yards, the AK will drop a whopping 10 feet. We had to try it.
So now we're shooting at 500 yards. We just spent a couple boxes of ammo shooting at 400 and hitting about 50% of the time at 400 yards with iron sights, which is pretty damn impressive, especially with an imperfect 0. Now we're going to shoot at 5. I don't know how this is attainable considering the size of the front sight and the fact that it completely obfuscates the target we're shooting at, which is a 5'8" tall man at 500 yards, but we'll give it a shot.
Okay, perfect elevation. Aim left, hold left. Hold more left. Too much left. Perfect hit in the right knee.
God, I'll take it. Good enough. I mean, so I shot like 10 times, and still I managed to get a hit at 500 yards with iron sights. I mean, I'll bank it, I guess. God, you're just right on the left edge. That was spot on, just to the left. Go baby, got him right in the right knee.
Fuck yeah, I'll take it.
You hit right where I hit.
For accuracy, the Jack gets more than a pass. That is absolutely fantastic for an AK. So the sights didn't help us very much, but the trigger did with a smooth 3-pound trigger pull. That's absolutely fantastic for an AK. It breaks smoothly. It's got an audible clunk of a reset. Really easy to shoot this gun. We also straight up just beat the shit out of this gun, forcing 1,000+ rounds of steel-cased ammo through it in the swamp here in Louisiana and then at Thunder Ranch, even taking it through the Punisher, which is a cover and concealment course designed by Clint Smith himself at the ranch. We had no malfunctions whatsoever the entire time I shot the Jack. As to durability, the trunnions for WBP AKs used to be cast, but they switched them over to forged trunnions for the US market. Forged trunnions are better, more durable, but according to WBP, their military customers are perfectly happy with cast trunnion models made by WBP, as they're apparently durable enough for mil-spec use, but cheaper than getting forged trunnions. However, cast trunnions get such a bad name in the US from budget manufacturers that most AK fans will flat out refuse to buy an AK that doesn't have forged trunnions, even if, like WBP, they use durable cast trunnions. Not a lot of negatives about the Jack. I really like this AK a lot. Number one, the sights were off from the factory, which really rustled the shit out of my jimmies. Number two, the safety is stiffer than my Quaker ex-wife.
So pretty good rifle. I mean, we're hitting out to 500 yards, 400 really well, 300 pretty easy. The sights are standard AK. They suck, but whatever. I mean, it's AK. As far as manipulations, the safety's pretty stiff, but that can break in or you can do some things to it. The trigger's really freaking good. Like, the trigger's awesome in this gun. Good wood furniture. Like, it's well put together, well made. We've had 0 malfunctions that I saw.
And number three, we had a problem inserting a US Palm magazine.
Yeah. US Palm, yeah.
It would fit, but it wouldn't lock into place like this excellent Polish magazine that this gun ships with. It makes me think that maybe the locking lug out here was out of spec. US Palm used to be awesome, but after they were bought out, they've been mediocre. I can't recommend them. I won't blame this on the gun. as this isn't the first time I've had issues with newer US Palms, and every other magazine we use, including PMags, were fantastic. I guess the last negative about this gun, the price, $1,300, wowza, for like a missionary position AK, albeit a top of the line one. I guess the biggest question that's going to be asked here by you is whether or not you should get a Zastava M70 or a Jack. They're clearly head-to-head competitors. If the price were identical or even close, it'd be a very tough call. Zastava's been making AKs for a long time. They've got a massive factory they opened in the 19th century. They've got military contracts. They've got a long-running reputation for making a good AK. Depending on the version you get, the M70 will have either a milled or a stamped receiver that's either 1mm or 1.5mm in thickness, but the newest models that you're going to see in the US are 1.5mm stamped receivers that are thicker than the standard 1mm receiver on the Jack, and they're bulged near the chamber for extra reinforcement like an RPK machine gun. That makes them sturdier but also heavier. The Jack is a trim 6.5 pounds, actually really lightweight for an AK. The M70 is a porky 8 pounds. I'm not going to say one's better than the other, it just depends on what your priorities are here. Older M70s didn't have chrome lined barrels, but today the Zastava M70 has a cold hammer forged and chrome lined barrel, same as the Jack. Accuracy's good from both guns, so this is a tie. Now, if you're into accessorizing, you're going to like the Jack a lot better. You can strap a ton of stuff on this. Both guns feature side rails for optic mounts, but Serbian AKs like the legendary M70 use different handguards, different stocks, different dimensions than regular AKMs. Therefore, you have to find Yugo-compatible accessories. They exist, but they're a little bit harder to find than plain old AKM parts. Some people just want to use regular AK accessories, and that's going to be easier to do with the Jack. Zastava AKs use bolt carriers that are in the white, that is untreated. In Louisiana and Florida, where I live, that's a problem. It means rust. The WBP uses a polished bolt carrier that may or may not be treated. I didn't quite understand from Mishko's video on these AKs, but he mentioned something about zinc plating. In any event, I'm not a huge fan of untreated bolt carriers in Zastavas, and the WBPs are either the same or possibly better if they're actually plated. Side note, I've used Brownell's Alumahide on 2 of my M70 bolt carriers. They look new, even though I applied it probably 10 years ago and used the guns pretty heavily. So it's a cheap fix for the Yugo, and hell, I'd probably just do it to the Jack too. Fit and finish is great on both guns. I mean, I just don't know what to say. I would be equally happy with either a Zastava or this. They're both excellent AKs. That's why it's a little tricky, because I know the Zastavas are easy to find for less than $1,000, while the WBP Jacks can be $1,300 to $1,400. On paper, the Jack might be the better gun, but I wouldn't say $300 or $400 better. And I don't know why that is. If I had to guess, Zastava makes the guns. Zastava probably makes the guns in huge volumes. Zastava imports the guns to Zastava US, and Zastava sells the gun. One company doing it all. WBP, on the other hand, makes the guns in Poland. After that, Arms of America imports them. After that, Atlantic Firearms converts them and sells them. You'd think someone's got to make a little bit of profit every step along that way, and maybe because you have 3 different companies touch it before you buy it, maybe it inflates the price, but I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part. Both the Jack and the M70 are outstanding AKs. The WBP is more expensive, but it's lighter, and it's a traditional AKM that accepts all AK accessories. The M70 is cheaper and more robust, but it's heavier and it uses some one-off parts. So I'm not telling you to buy the Zastava over the Jack or vice versa. All I'm saying is that you should do what I did and buy both. Too easy. Guys, thanks a ton for watching this video. If you like TFB TV, we don't accept money from WBP or Atlantic Arms or any of these other people. We rely on your support to run this channel. We need you. Consider supporting us at Patreon, or if you support us at Utreon or Subscribestar at the $5 level or higher, you're automatically entered to win one of 4 free guns every single month. So go check us out, utreon.com/TFBTV, patreon.com/TFBTV, subscribestar.com/TFBTV. But I'm just appreciative you're watching. Thank you for checking out this video about the Jack, and I will see you in a couple of days.